Hey, what's up, guys? Shadow Steel here. Welcome back to another episode of Railworks Sundays. Today we are operating the old CB&Q today, as we take a trip over Marias Pass. This is the second time I've operated over Marias Pass, so just getting all the lights on in here, and we're good to go. The doors, open the lights, and go. Everything's good. Windows open here. There we go. Alright, off we go. Make sure all the brakes are off here. And off we go. On to adventure. The fastest video start ever. Yeah, I'm trying to get things done here. And trying to actually do yeah, it's been a while since we've recorded some videos here, but today we're going to be operating over Marias Pass, operating some old equipment here, the U-25Cs as they are referred to, because they have the 3-axle trucks here. So these are the U-25Cs. They are 3-axle trucks, and they are, well, interesting, to say the least. Been trying to work on a scenario for the Frisco 1500s, but as of right now, I don't have anything set up just yet. So as of right, oh, we can go 25. Let's go. Notch up. Oh, fucking black smoke right in our face. Okay. Knocked it down a little bit. We don't want to be going too fast, but we need to get to 25 here. Alright, here we go. There's the crossing. What in the world? I'm so confused by door. What the hell? Is that a bug? Something just flew past the screen. Okay, here we go. We're at 20 miles an hour. Let's get a little bit more speed. Another crossing over there. A lot of horn action here. There we go. Through there. Another crossing coming up here. Gotta concentrate when you get out of the yard. You get out of this segment here. A lot of action here. Go. I do like when you have a lot of crossings to go through and everything like that. That's kind of cool, I gotta admit. Okay, knock down a little bit. We don't want to be going too fast here. I think there's another crossing up ahead here. Alright, off we go. I think, is there? No, there's not. Okay, we're okay. There is a crossing. What facing the other direction? I can't tell. All right, no matter. We can turn the bell off now. Okay, what do we got? Okay, that's facing it. That's a milepost. Never mind. Shot, draw off. Yeah. Track speed. Yeah, we have these locomotives. It's been a while since I've operated. Last time I operated on Marias Pass, it was the switching, the Columbia River switching, which we're actually on the same branch line, actually, which is kind of funny. We're on the same branch, so we're taking a cement train down the line. And got to admit, things have changed a lot, not just on the game. Things have changed quite a bit since I last recorded, at least in terms of what's going on in real life. Dear fucking God. Because since I have recorded Railworks, last time I recorded a Railworks Sundays video, there's been changes in privacy policies, or not privacy, changes in policies as of late that have basically made it so that you're just not anonymous on the internet anymore, at least as of right now. So there's been a lot of censorship going on with the credit card companies and Steam and whatnot. And then you have things like the needing IDs and everything on the internet to access stuff. And it's just getting to the point now where it's like absolutely ridiculous and like, what in the world is going on here? And I gotta admit, I am a little worried about the censorship stuff. I'm not worried about this ID thing. At least not entirely. When it comes to the ID thing, the main issue I have with it, at least from my point of view, especially with YouTube is enacting, by the time this video comes out, YouTube should have a new policy by the end of this week that will enact a content, like basically you will need to post a selfie or an ID or something like that to signify you are over 18. And that system, while it's basically an age verification system. And I'm not against it by any means, but I'm also one of those people that, like, if you can prove to me that the content is like you're gonna have, like, this is gonna be safe and not gonna be, and the system's not gonna be hacked or anything like that, then by all means I'm for it, because I rather have people like verify that they are 18 or older on a lot of these. Like, I'm not against it, but I'm also like one of those people that is like, unless you prove to me that that system is working, like that system is working as intended, then I am not gonna fully trust it. So it's kind of a mixed bag there. For me in particular, the whole thing with the content, like YouTube, especially has been kind of one of these things where it's like, it's been tricky. It's very tricky. It's a very tricky subject to deal with. So the idea of how it works and everything, like, it's one of those things where, like, there's a good chance that the system won't work as intended because YouTube itself doesn't have the best content ID system or the best ID system or anything like that, for that matter. So I'm not putting much faith into it. I'll obviously do it because it's not like, it's ID verification. It's and the way to do it, from what I've heard, is like you either can show your government ID or you can share, or like take a selfie and it will ID from there. It's like the selfie thing, at least that's decent enough because, like I said, I've mentioned this before. I've showed my face on YouTube before. I'm not afraid of showing my face on YouTube. I'm not against that. So that's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. However, the issue comes about when you go into like whether or not whether or not the system works as intended, and you aren't flagged as being younger than you actually look. And Lord knows YouTube's system is not exactly the best in terms of flagging the right content and whatnot. So, alright, we got the time limit bonus from there. We did lose a little bit of points because we sped a little bit, but that's fine. We're kind of slowing down to about 24 miles an hour, but we are on track speed. We're kind of at track speed here, so we're kind of making time. Gotta make sure we have our speed up here. But yeah, YouTube itself, YouTube has changed a lot since I first joined it. So my YouTube account, the current YouTube account, Virtual Rail Fan Productions, this channel, the reason I say Shadow Steel at the beginning of every video is actually because when I first started, that was the name of the original name of the channel, was Shadow Steel 18. And it was meant to be more of a grab bag channel, like kind of like the old Let's Play channel from the Achievement Hunters. It was meant to be that kind of channel where I would play games that I found enjoyable and just did a kind of a podcast format. It just so happened that the first video ever to be posted on my channel was literally a video on Trains in New Era. And that launched the channel kind of a bit. Now, technically, that was not the first official video on the channel. The first official video on the channel was a fake rail fanning video set in Trains 12, but that has since been lost to time. And that was one of those things where it's like, looking back on it now, I actually plan to re-release that in some form or fashion, like basically do a rail fanning video, but just in the new format or something like that. But the whole thing, YouTube has changed a lot since I joined. Literally 10 years ago now. My channel is 10 years old. I started in 2015 officially with those Trains New Era videos. And they've since, the channel's grown. Railworks Sundays was kind of the second video series on my channel, with Trackside being the first. And then I think it was actually last year or the year before last year, 2023, 2024, when I did Railroads Online, which has since been the mainstay of my channel for some weird reason. And you can kind of see the evolution of the channel through what I've done. There's actually been a few comments on my channel. I've actually made friends thanks to my channel, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, these people actually know who I am simply because of my goofy channel that I've done. Like, I've been making content for so long. Like, oh, yeah, these people actually know who I am and have seen my content. One of the biggest examples, I can tell you this right now, is when I first came across Heights and his channel. When I first was watching a live stream of his about Railroads Online back in the early days when the game was just coming out, I can actually point, he actually still has the live stream up on his channel, but I'll clip it out a little bit. But this was back when he didn't have a face cam on his live streams, and he was basically, I think he was still in Seattle. This was before he moved to Colorado, obviously, because some of his older videos kind of date that. But it was like one of the early Railroads Online videos when it was the old hardcore map, if anybody remembers that. And that was like, got to be 2020, 2021, and my channel was not that big at the time. And I remember distinctly, I freaked out when he recognized my channel name, because it was like, oh wow, he knows my channel. And the first thing that came up to my head was that, oh, he's probably recognizing the the webcam channel Virtual Railfan, not Virtual Railfan Productions, because that was another thing. When I changed my channel's name to Virtual Railfan Productions, I had no clue there was a Virtual Railfan channel already. And as such, I ended up just I had to do a few other things to change it and like change the name up a little bit. But apparently he did see some of my Railworks content back in the day. Like I said, I don't want to give, I'll link the stream in the corner, obviously, if anybody wants to watch it. But that's like an old live stream. That's back when they were doing live, like the derailment counter, and they had a few older members on the channel. That was back when I think Mickley had just joined as a moderator, a content moderator or something like that. And it was just like, that was the very early days of Railroads Online. Little did I know that only a few years later, in like 2023, I became the Railroads Online guy for the foreseeable future. And it was just one of those things like, oh, wow, people actually like when I play this game and have like these little tangents on talking about it. But yeah, like that's one of the things. Like YouTube has changed a great deal since I've joined back in 2015. My channel, and that's why I'm not too worried about the content, like the ID thing and whatnot, the age verification thing. Yes, it kind of removed the anonymity thing, and there's going to be people that don't like it, obviously. But from what I've been hearing about like the problems with it, it's not the actual anonymity thing. That's not the main issue. The main issue is just like how YouTube's content system is even working. YouTube has a tendency to flag things that are not correct, that are not actively correct. Have literally, there was a story a long time ago, like less than a year ago, of a YouTuber that ended up smacking his mic, and it got flagged for domestic abuse or something like that, like some sort of abuse thing. And it was like, huh? The guy just smacked his mic, And it literally is listed in the video itself. Like, the video was delisted as a result. And like, huh? And that's the whole drama there. And that was just because the automated content ID bots and whatnot flagging it. And that's kind of the long and short of it. It's like, that's the problem people have with this system, not the actual ID system itself. Like, because you have the obvious problems with things like Elsa gates and stuff like that, where there's literal porn on the platform. It's just like, what the hell is going on here? And kind of leads into the other point with the whole thing where they're trying, like, the credit card companies trying to censor not safe for work content, which granted, that is a whole different can of worms. I'd rather not get into that too much. At least not on this channel. I do have a video planned where I kind of discuss it a little bit more in detail, because it is kind of a political hand grenade and whatnot, because it's become a political hand grenade, and I'd rather not get my channel too deeply in that. But it's one of those things where, like, when you actually look into the details, like, it's like, what the absolute fuck is wrong with you people? It's the whole violent video games argument again, and that's kind of the whole thing. That's kind of the whole issue I see with it and whatnot. The same argument we've been having since the 90s of all things. And it's like, really? We're not children. We know what we're doing. We can tell what's fictional and what's not fictional, and you think we can't? I mean, my lord. But that's the long and short of it there. It's just like these weird habits people have to, like, these weird things that people think, oh, we're, like, that's, you're consuming something that is not safe for work. You must be a monster. You must want to do it for real. Like, no, that's not how that works. We are adults. We can tell fiction from nonfiction. We can tell what's right and what's wrong. We have a moral compass. We have common sense. We'll flash back to the last Railroads Online video where I mentioned about the whole thing about common sense. And that's the long and short of it. Like, there are some people that think that we don't have common sense. And we do. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it there for the most part, because I kind of don't want to discuss it too much, at least not on this channel. Well, I mean, I will discuss it eventually, because it's going to affect everybody at the end of the day. But it's one of those things where, like, you really got to pay attention to what, like, is happening around you. The idea that these credit card companies can censor us simply because they have the right to do that. Or, well, they don't have the right to do this because there's actual evidence to suggest that they have broken several laws by doing this. And game companies like Steam and GOG and itch.io have all basically come out and said, like, yeah, these are the credit card companies that are doing this, and they're the problem here. It's not like these groups like Collective Shout and all this other stuff. It's this whole group. It's the credit card companies. I mean, when you think about it, when two different companies hold a collective 69% of the market, that's when you have a problem. That is when you have a problem. That is when you have issues. That is when you basically get to monopoly territory. And that's kind of the issue there. That, to me, seems to be what the problem is. At least to me, it's like they can tell us what we can and cannot buy simply because they have a monopoly. They have the ability to do that. They have all this power, which they shouldn't. And that's kind of my point. That's kind of my thing. It's just like these companies, they shouldn't have this much power. They shouldn't have this much leeway and whatnot. So it's just, there's a whole bunch of things that need to be addressed here. Okay. How much further we got here on this waypoint here? Not too far. We got 1 3/4 of a mile. Make sure we keep up our speed. Stay at track speed so we can keep ahead of schedule. Yeah. There's a lot going on here. How far do we got until we got to get to the next waypoint here? Not very far. The 25-mile-an-hour speed limit kind of gets to me because it's so tricky to maintain here. And like I said, I do, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do plan on making a video, a video for the Frisco 1500s. Like that was the next plan. That was kind of the finale of the BNSF Heritage stuff I was going to do. But as of right now, I still need to work on that scenario. So, there's that. Alright, there we go. Bell off. There's just a lot going on, and I'm just tired of it to some extent. It's just one of those things where, like, we're going through this again, aren't we? It's just like going through the same song and dance, guys. Same song and dance. I barely see the gauges in this lighting. It's so dark in here. My lord. Oh, here we go. Alright, we're coming to the next waypoint here, and then after that, what's our next waypoint? About 3 miles from there. Okay. We're a little farther out. But that's Columbia Falls, right? The next one is Columbia Falls? Yep, Columbia Falls. So yeah, we'll be kind of coming through the yard here and everything. So that should not be too far from where we're going there. Well, looks like we'll be ahead of schedule a little bit. Making sure our speed's kind of staying steady here. Looks like we'll be okay. Another whistle post here. I do love the bell sound when the windows are open. That's actually quite nice. Much better than what I normally hear on these locomotives. I feel like that switch is lined the wrong way. It's fine. Nope. Timeliness bonus. Nice. We did a good job there. Mars lights on these these diesels, I gotta admit, they're not bad looking. They're not bad looking at all. They're not the best in terms of their design, but they're U-boats. They're not exactly flashy. The U-boats were never flashy. They were kind of boxy and whatnot. They were kind of interesting, to say the least. Whee! Alright, so we've gotten through this waypoint. Now we gotta get to the next waypoint, which is Columbia Falls in about 4 miles, eh? Alright. This is gonna be interesting. A lot of speed here. Alright, that's enough throttle. Just the amount of stuff that is going on in this world is just like, the world's on fire. I mean, to be fair, to quote a Fallout, one of the songs from the Ink Spots, like, you don't want to set the world on fire, but you end up doing it, so. It's like that. It's like that image, the image of the dog sitting around a burning house, sitting around the kitchen that's on fire around him. He's like, this is fine. It's not fine. I've mentioned this before, but this is not fine. It's just the opposite of fine. This is chaos in motion. Is that procedural graphs? It looks like it. Yeah, it is. Alright. Well, that's interesting. Saw that just out of the corner of my eye, too. Or, like, one good eye. That's another thing I don't think I've ever mentioned to anybody on YouTube here. Back in 2019, I went blind in my left eye. That's one of the reasons why I've stopped using the face cam. Was one of the reasons, not the main reason. The main reason I stopped using the face cam was actually because I don't have it anymore. When COVID hit, my dad actually asked to use the webcam that I had for his teaching job. And lo and behold, I haven't seen it since. There you go. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I stopped using the face cam, because I went blind in the left eye, so I can't really see very well out of it. Well, actually, I can't see out of it at all. And then the right eye is kind of all screwed up, so that's unfortunate. So I'm kind of like up next to, pretty close to the computer screen, and trying to see what I'm doing. That's one of the reasons why I actually got a new mic stand for once, because I'm able to use the computer pretty. I'm using the mic stand's actually quite nice. So I can actually get right up to the mic and still use the computer quite regularly. Climbing a hill here, it looks like. Got a grade. Short grade, but not grade. Alright, shut her down. So we're coming up about 3 miles out. Got it. 2 3/4, honestly. It's going to be a bit before we reach the next waypoint. This is going to be a long haul, boys. A lot of cement behind us, too. I do like the fact that they just reused an asset, a route asset, and just made it into an actual piece of rolling stock. Because if you actually run on the racetrack, the Chicago racetrack area, this is actually a route asset in that route. It just doesn't have the Burlington route logo on it. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, yeah, that's a route asset there, which is kind of funny. I do like that, though. Just reusing as many assets as reusing stuff as much as possible here. I will say, these locomotives don't look half bad, especially the weathering side of it. It's on the crossing here. The one thing I wish I could find is the number lights, because I think they're supposed to light up. Horn could be a little better, honestly. Why is it coming from the rear, too? I just noticed that. It's coming from the rear of the locomotive, not the front. It's not coming from the front, it's coming from the rear, and the horn's up the front. How the hell do you pull that off? Jesus. All the audio is coming from the rear. That's weird. How do you do that? Air spinner's going off. Slowing down a bit because we're going up grade. Get a little bit of throttle on there. I didn't know you had a conductor on, like they had a conductor on board. That's interesting. You can barely see him in the cab, especially considering how dark it is in there. You hear the whine of the traction motors as you pick up speed a bit. Alright, shut her down just a tad so we can keep maintaining speed here. Do we have an engineer in the back? I don't think so. Alright, shut down. A mile and a half to go here from the next waypoint, and then it's on to the races. I think I missed that whistle post somewhere. think this is where the hill starts here. Yeah, this is where a hill starts, so we need to pick up speed. The audio is not the greatest, at least when it transitions, but I will say it's not bad either. Coming up to Columbia Falls here. What time are we supposed to get there? 33? Alright, we should be there on time. Notch 4. Picking up speed here. We're getting up to speed. Whoopsie. I just saw we were at like 25, over 25 miles an hour there. Dear God, maybe the sound is not the greatest at all. That is terrible. The actual transition from turning the notches down to all of a sudden the like notching up and everything, like that's kind of sad. Not great, but not bad either. Okay, coming up to Columbia Falls, which is where we did the switching last. And once we're here, we're going to go onto the Y and actually get onto the main here, going up to Whitefish. Oh, goodness. Alright, easy does it. I have a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit coming up here. I've done this scenario 3 times at this point. Gotta maintain our speed. Time limit bonus, right? Yes, we did. Alright, we made it a minute early, actually. That's nice. Pretty impressive, actually. We've made it a minute early by keeping up our speed a little bit over 25. There's the 20-mile-an-hour limit right up there. Less than a mile out. About a 3/4 of a mile out. We'll kind of let it coast here as we kind of run it slow. Oh boy. Yeah, this is where we dropped off the cars last time. With the Columbia River Falls switching. I don't know why I say Columbia River Falls. 23.5. It's a boxcar sitting over there. Northern Pacific and Great Northern. Not bad. Not a bad combination. I don't know if they have a Frisco boxcar. I know they have a Frisco unit in the set, but I don't know if they have a Frisco boxcar. If they're crossing up there. See ya. Why do you have a street light? What the hell? I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. Oh, I see what it's for. Okay, interesting. That's a very interesting combination there. Alright, coming up to the next signal. Alright, we made it. Next waypoint. Curve at high speed. Technically, I feel like you could take this to 25 and not be too bad off. I don't think we're leaning too much into the curve. I don't know why we have it set to 20. Weird. Whatever. I guess it's just yard speed, honestly. I ain't going yard speed. I'm going high. I'm going highball. Alright, here we go. Next waypoint here. About a mile out. About a mile out. And then the last one is to there. It's about okay, so about 4 miles out from here. Alright. Getting on to the main here, finally. Tracks look a little goofy, honestly. The ties on the tracks look weird to me, for some reason. Maybe it's just the fact that it looks fatter. They do, don't they? They kind of do, actually. It's weird. They kind of look a little fat there. When I look at it. Weird. Got a signal up there. Diverging clear. Diverging clear. The only reason I know that what that signal is like is because of the video production company, Diverging Clear Productions. They actually show the Diverging Clear signal when they on their video intros and whatnot, which is kind of cool. I actually got my first DVD from them recently. It's the Frisco 1522's retrospective, which is really kind of informative, like how much that locomotive, kind of showing off how much that locomotive's career was, like how the locomotive's career was and whatnot. Right through the signal here. Yeah, the air speeder's kind of going nuts up there on the second unit. We should get our speed change up here in a second. Should be through. Yep, there we go. Alright, notch it up. We're going to have a 30-mile-an-hour limit coming up here. Because we're going to cross over on the second track. Or the first track. But anyway. Try and get our speed up here. Get a traction motor starting the line here as we pick up speed. That's nice. Down for the bridge here. Going off the crossover now. There's a crossing just up ahead here, I think. I want to say it's up here. Can't tell. Get the throttle off so we can get the train out of the crossover here without overspeeding. Silence bonus. Nice. We made it on time. Alright, launch it. There's a milepost, not a whistle post. So we're going to be, whoops, that's the wrong button. I want to say, I don't see it. Weird, I must have missed it. Alright, we're clear. Let's move along. Come along, come along. Want to make sure we have our switches are aligned for us here. Okay. Line for that, good. And then we need to align this switch, I think. We line that there. I think we line this one and that one. I think that's how it's set up. I could be wrong, but either way, we're gonna have to run it down the track here and see if we can get it set up. That was the crossing I was thinking of. I do like the whine of the traction motors as we pick up speed here. It's actually quite nice. That's what that noise is, the little whining noise. Either that or that's the turbo. But I don't think these had turbos, did they? Pretty sure they did. Yep, another whistle post. Alright, once we get past the signal here, I'm going to shut down the throttle and then we're going to start putting brakes on so we can get to our speed about right. Active road there. Alright. Okay, mile per. So we're at 3 miles out. Signal indication is approach. We have an approach. What the hell? Siding. Alright, approach. Shut the throttle off, get it ready. Alright. Minimal reduction going here. We have the right brake system here? Ah, there we go. I was on the train brake, not the automatic brake. Do some light taps on the automatic here. The minimal reduction, that should do it. Should kind of slow down here with the automatic, or the minimal reduction here. Enough to kind of get into the yard here, which is about 2 3/4 of a mile out. Good. I don't want to slow down too much, but I want to kind of maintain speed here. Okay, we're at 40 miles an hour here. Look at all that hay. Oh, good. I'm doing quite well. Speed there is good enough. It's about 37 miles an hour. Once I reach 35, I'm gonna release the brakes, see what we can do. Still got a ways out here. All right, 35. Release the brakes. Let it coast a bit here. Got 2 miles out. And we're supposed to be about 20 miles an hour as we go into the siding here, so we need to make sure we're also lined into it correctly. Doesn't tell me right now. We're gonna let the train kind of coast into it. At 2 miles out. Logs. Just log. Alright. It's about... Alright, let's get a bit more on the reduction there in the brakes. Just saw the speed sign, so you have to reduce speed here. About 20 miles an hour as we get into it. 30 miles an hour. About 1.5 miles until we reach our destination. Our next waypoint here. There's the brakes. Where are we go? Oh, we're going on the wrong track here. I think I switched it wrong here. Oh, there we go. And that's lined incorrectly as well. Line that into there. We're good. We're lined incorrectly. Alright, now we need to apply brakes. Going about 28 into this speed here. Get the bell going as we go over this bridge. Not bad. Water looks nice. I actually reinstalled Railworks Enhanced not too long ago to kind of get a better look, get a better feel for the game and whatnot. So, all right, we're slowing down enough here. We're going to be on time. Release the brakes. Looks like minimal reduction is good enough where we can keep the train slow enough that we won't overspeed and whatnot. So. 25 limit, and then we're going to be going into a 15 limit as we get into the yard. Oh, right, we're over the bridge anyway. Where's that buzzing noise? I guess that's the brakes? Yeah. Alright, we'll be munching on our speed here a little bit. Easy does it. Alright, doing a little reduction. Kind of cutting it close there with the brakes. There we go, 20 miles an hour. Take the brakes. Let the brakes charge up again. Got a train coming up here. That looks it. Is that a red? Oh, flashing red. Okay. So we have a... I don't know what that signal indication is, but alright. Alright. That's our signal here. And our speed limit is right underneath it, I guess. Yep, there it is. Alright, through. And then slow down again. Alright, easy does it. Into the yard. Release the brakes. Got to go. What the hell? Alright, made it. Made it into the yard. And I think there's a Northern Pacific freight coming up our way. Yeah, there he is. We get a good shot. We normally would. First time I've actually got on time here. He's leaving out. He's leaving out that way. Kind of a nice little meet. That's the first meet we've had this entire scenario. Where's the rest of the train? There it is. Getting into the yard now. I'm kind of disappointed that they don't have their Mars light on. Unless you don't have to have it on the whole time. Man, these people must just absolutely hate the railroad at times. I mean, my lord, how much do you... I wonder how many times that has happened to people, then it's just like, oh my fucking god. They see one train pass by and all of a sudden another train comes flying by. Yeah. Into the yard. We are not directly lined into the right yard here for some weird reason. Is it this one? Yes, that's the right yard. Okay, it was a farther yard, not the... Okay. Well, that's interesting. Alright. So this is the yard we're supposed to go into, not the other one. Interesting. Alright. We made it, boys. We made it. Right on time, too. Well, maybe not right on time, but close enough. Once we get in the yard, we'll go ahead and stop the train here. We kind of got close to the final end of the scenario. It's not too bad. Alright, we've lined into there. Train's going over the switch now, and go ahead and start applying brakes. Full service. Come to a complete stop. You hear the brakes coming out of the freaking cars behind us. That audio, I swear. That is the oldest audio in the game, I swear to God. There you go. Train stopped. Not moving anywhere. That's good. Set the neutral. Alright. Made it on time, too, because we were done. Yep, we made it on time. Alright, guys. Well, like and comment down below. Subscribe if you guys want more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.